Okie doke. I think we're live. Well, it's another beautiful day. I guess it's cold. What is it like? Of course, I get a notification the second. The notification I got was that we're live. 34 and fair here in Kansas City, Missouri. A week before the Chiefs go to the Super Bowl. Interesting to see what that's going to turn out to be. I'm going to start out with a little bit of a rant today. Not like a crazy one, but just a little bit of a rant. There have been a couple comments in some of the podcast things, and I understand where you're coming from, I guess. But about how, we need to not talk about things that are not plug related, or I don't know, just not do this. And so, first of all, my sentiment in that regard is I can do whatever the hell I want. And that's not even trying to be a shitty thing. I'm not trying to be like all wedding singer about it. But
what?
It's my mic. I can say whatever the hell I want.
Oh, I got you. I'm right there with you.
Fairly, weirdly enough, it is a Sandman.
Oh, nice.
I'm wearing an Adam Sandler T-shirt today.
I love it. Love it. Coming around.
Listen.
I think that one of my favorite things about this company and kind of having the freedom to do what we want to do is we can do whatever we want to do. So we've been able to do that. That's how we run the company. We don't really abide by any standards and procedures that anybody else has ever told us. We don't do what anybody tells us we should do. We do what we think we should do or what we want to do. And that's done really 10 years. So I'm not going to go around changing that unless I feel that it's something that's massively detrimental to the company. But one thing I will say is that due to the holidays and kind of the craziness and the busyness that we've been experiencing, obviously moving to this new office after the holidays, we have not been putting out a lot of original content outside of the podcast because if you are somebody who likes the original content and is not, or whether you like the podcast or not, there's more coming. We've shot it. It just needs to be edited, and that'll be coming out about. But if you want to know why we do the podcast, at the end of the day, it's just us having a conversation as friends, as coworkers, as bringing in some outside friends, because it's been kind of a strange year. We're coming up on, I remember first planning for the coronavirus a little over a year ago when I got back from Asia, and I kind of thought this thing was going to be a little wacky. And this is a really good way for us to have kind of like broader conversations, escape kind of like our work life, our work day, and kind of like let you guys in. I think another factor there is one thing that I've really always enjoyed about what was the touring side of the company is that we get so much face time with the customer. Mm-hmm. And we don't get that anymore. We talk to them on the phone or via email or something like that. But
Tiavan, one of our guys on the chat right now, or ladies, I'm not sure, literally look forward.
Kind of where my head's at with it is this is kind of like our way to still be us. Like, I'm not going to come up here and pretend to be something else. I think that it's probably pretty clear. I've even met some people who listened to the podcast before they met me since we've been doing this. And they're like, oh, you are like exactly the same guy. I'm like, yeah. There's no buffer.
You're not putting it on for the microphone.
No, and I don't think any of us are. So I think that's super, that's what I want. I want everybody to know there's real people that work here, about, a little under 20 of us. And, we like to bring in the ones that want to do the if you guys interact, we'll as for being a business, this is not a thing. I'm not.
The diversification of.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
content create
Yeah.
That's what they always say. You
What is
got
it?
content.
What does
content?
Gary, what does Gary Vee?
Content.
Gary Vee crush it. You know, you gotta
Gary Vee says to buy a table and then to sell it. Or actually, not to buy a table, to find a free table
find a free table and sell it.
and then sell it. And then start your empire.
Building tables. I mean, technically, you can make anything into a table.
I
So
mean,
that
sure.
philosophy is like you can go outside and be like, "Yo, there's a pallet. I'm gonna make tables."
I mean, hey
out of
man,
the
have you been on
pallet."
Marketplace lately? That's a lot of tables out there.
They already make go get some shipping pallets, put a mattress on it, take a picture of it, put it on Pinterest, hustle.
Yeah, I think one thing that Gary Vee.
Is Gary Vee just a Pinterest like?
No.
No,
person?
but there's a
if you just
speci-
think about
He's
it,
just like start small, build.
I
You
know.
know, he's just like whatever you can to start small, build.
There's a specific video where like some kid stops him by an escalator and he's like, Gary Vee, how do I get rich? And for some reason he's like, go get a tape. I don't know why he said table, but he did say it.
he's like me. He probably just has bad analogies. Anytime someone's like, talk about something, I'll be like,
man.
yeah,
Yo,
boats.
It's like mashed potatoes.
I
you
just
know?
said boats because I was looking at at boats, but now I'm going to make an analogy about boats, the actual
The actual thing.
boats
Yeah.
that float in the thing, not the guy.
That's
and then I'm
true.
like, wait, what was I talking about? So maybe he was like, just get a table. Shit.
That
And
only,
then
that,
sell that table.
that only works if you have a car, though. You don't want to be the guy bringing a coffee table on the
on the
bus.
subway.
Yeah, no way.
No.
You don't want to be that dude.
By the way, welcome back, boats, everybody. For those who are watching, and I know that we only have 3 cameras. We're gonna add a 4th. We're having a little bit of a problem with our switcher right now. We're gonna have Mike with the Mike, the sound guy or engineer or whatever we want to call him. He's over here.
Engineer, that sounds good.
Above him is going to be a wide-angle lens on our 4th channel, so you'll be able to see the entire room. But for those wondering who are looking at me right now, Boats is there to my left-ish, and Joe is there to my right-ish, and
But where is Baby Yoda? And that's the problem.
I don't. Yeah, behind a whiteboard.
Baby Yoda is
apparently.
hiding.
go get him.
Sunbathing.
No. So I want to go down that path for a second because the whole like business, like entrepreneur thing is something I'm super supportive of. I'm always, oh God, here he comes, Baby Yoda. Speaking of entrepreneurs,
Here he comes, Baby Yoda universe.
From Sideshow Collectibles, the coolest action figure they've ever made.
This is not a plug, but we sell plugs.
there we go.
It's just I had to buy that. They didn't send it to me. I'm not cool like the guy that, Adam Savage?
Adam,
Oh, did he get one for?
Yeah, he
free?
got one, and then he cut it up
Yeah, well,
and
of
made
course.
like a wired body so you can like move the stuff because it really is just a giant action figure that looks really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But like if you lift up the thing, go ahead, Boats, lift up his pants. It's just a green plastic molded body for $400.
feel-
oh, it. He's smooth under there.
He's smooth under there. So
well, I mean, he wouldn't be an action figure or a doll if he wasn't.
it's not a doll; it's an action figure. But his hand does have like
Not
a
an
magnetic
action
little
figure.
ball.
There's no action in this figure.
No, he just sits.
There's
and
no
stares.
kung fu grip. There's no
No.
articulating elbows.
He's
I-
only
I will
temporarily.
He's
allow
not
for-
even stretchy.
I will allow for him to be called movie paraphernalia or something of that nature.
Memorabilia.
Memorabilia. You know what I mean? I'll allow for memorabilia. I won't go as far as doll, but he's sure as shit not an action figure. There's
He's not
no
an action figure, but it's made from the actual mold that they make the
This is a clone of the real Baby
the
Yoda.
clone of the real Baby Yoda. That's
Okay.
why I went for it. And
This is gonna be riveting stuff on the audio only part.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Google. Well, who makes it?
Sideshow Collectibles,
Google Sideshow Collectibles Yoda.
the
Google
child.
Baby Yoda meme, and
This is the original one when it's the child, not Grogu. I hate that name.
that's his name.
Grogu is disgusting.
Grogu's
sounding.
his name.
It just sounds like something else.
I think you need to watch a different show if you're going to be such a hater about it.
Listen, man.
Grow and
Nobody-
then goo. You know
nobody-
what I
Gonna
mean?
Be a bad guy.
Nobody in the Star Wars universe has a good name.
That's what?
Who has a cool name?
Kylo Ren's pretty sick.
Okay.
Kylo Ren's like I would name my child Kylo Ren if
Yeah.
it wasn't such a thing. It's like a cool name.
Yeah, a lot. Lando is pretty.
Yeah,
Okay,
Lando
what-
Calrissian. Come on,
That's
What
pretty sick.
aliens, not humanoids, have cool names?
Greedo's cool.
You like Greedo, but
Yeah.
not Grumbo or whatever this guy's name is.
Grogu. It's the name. It ends in goo.
Yeah.
Nothing should end in goo as a name.
Goo
That's
Goo Gaga.
stupid.
He's Baby Yoda. Grow Goo Goo Gaga.
Who wants
Come on,
your
it's right.
goo to grow? It sounds
Wow.
like something you use to make a baby. So you get the goo to make it grow.
Also,
and
for
that's
those-
where my head goes.
Oh.
Yeah, sure.
Well,
So I got that grow goo.
He is.
It's a competitor.
Okay,
it's a competitor. Competitor to
I
Rogaine.
hear it now.
So that's
Yeah.
where my head goes with that, and I think it's disgusting. So I don't like calling him Grogu.
Yo, Boats, you been using the Rogaine? Nah, I've been
Nah.
using the Grogu.
I got
Using
that Grogu.
Grogu up here.
See?
There you go.
Anyway, enough
Most
Star
people don't
Wars
know
shit.
this, but Joe Ionelli at his parents' house in Staten Island, New York, has probably about a college education's worth of Star Wars
Wars
action figures and collectibles that are just sitting up there. I don't know when and where they'll be worth the most, but I'm sure he'll figure that out.
I've been trying to get them. I like last time I went home, I like brought some down into the kitchen from the attic, and I was like, "Hey, ship these to me." You know, one at a time. Just
Right.
take a little put it in a box, ship it to me. Excuse me, and they still have it because
No, of course not.
coronavirus. And
Yeah.
going outside.
Dude, you're just going to have to drive out there one of these days.
No, I'm just
fill
gonna.
up
I
the
was
trunk
thinking
of your
about getting one of
car.
those pods, but they're so expensive
Oh, they're so expensive.
because I have so much shit in my parents' house.
No, you'd
that
be
I,
better
like,
off just
finally
buying. You'd be better off just like taking Casey's Jeep and throwing like the smallest U-Haul trailer on the back.
Yeah, I was about to say. I was like, get your 10-foot U-Haul,
Yeah.
get an SUV, take a little trip,
But I
take a
have
little road trip up to the
I have
island.
a tiny house, and I don't know where to put all this shit. So I'm also trying to figure out that factor.
You
It's like,
you have there's so much room in this office.
There's roughly 10,000 square feet.
You could put it anywhere in here.
I'm not putting it in this office. This is a shared space that Sam allows me to have stuff in here. I don't want him to have to look at all the Star Wars shit all the time.
Yeah,
So
I'd
that's
really
why I
prefer.
kinda
I'd
like-
really prefer not to have to look at all of it.
yeah.
I
Some
think
of
it'd be cool
So
if
I
it was
think
just all
rotating
behind
pieces,
Joe.
like
I think
this-
that'd be sick.
So my goal is like I'm gonna rotate different helmets in. That's why I have this guy on my desk.
You are probably
then as
fucking with
we
the autofocus like crazy right now.
Start
with that helmet in
seeing the
there.
podcast go. You're gonna see different helmets on my desk and stuff. I think that'll be kind of cool to change up the setup.
No, I agree. I mean, I'm gonna do
So
like
Grogu is gonna go back home eventually.
I'm gonna have a shit ton of Futurama stuff behind
Yeah.
me. I mean, like I don't give a fuck.
But rotating it is kind
Yeah.
of fun. Shows the different stuff. Taking a little thing from some of the other podcast
Mhm.
places I've looked at and things like that.
You're doing your version of Deezus's shoe wall.
Yeah.
Okay, I respect that.
Who's she wall?
Deezus from Deezus and Marrow on their television show,
The Bodega Boys.
The Bodega Boys.
Okay.
He records in front of a wall of very rare and/or expensive shoes.
Okay.
For a while, he was changing them every week, like
Whoa.
all white shoes, all black shoes, all red shoes, all blue shoes, because he has like a room of that. I mean, it would be once you bring everything back, you will have enough. You already have enough stuff to have an entire room dedicated to.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has
stuff.
like a
Yeah.
small museum worth.
That's
yeah.
tight. I think that's cool. I love collecting shit. I don't currently.
and I've been collecting it since like 1997, 1996.
Nice.
Is when I started that idea. So I was like 9 or 10. Yes.
Okay.
It was about 9.
I do not collect anything currently, but I like the idea of collecting things.
I get in like spurts where I'll be like, oh, they made these like 26
I thought we were done
rare
talking
Futurama.
about Grogu. I thought we were done talking about Grogu
No.
spurts.
Spurts.
Go!
That's his little brother. His little
Skeet,
brother
skeet.
Spurts. Whoa.
Not the
What's the last thing
Spurs.
you spurted on?
Gosh, I don't know. Stocks.
Yeah, for sure.
The,
Same, same here.
I would say that I don't remember the last thing, but I remember one of the things I'm the most stoked on is like I just one day was like I'm gonna get every Futurama thing there is, and I'm pretty sure I have it. I think I might be missing one or two things,
Nice.
but that was a big one for me, and I was just really stoked on it. It's just like my favorite show, and so that was like whatever. Never been a big Star Wars collector. Never been big into like a lot of the things that you would think my age I'd be into, like Ninja Turtles or G.I. Joe or anything. The
You did like Superman though.
Yeah, I do like Superman. I think that the only thing I don't like about Superman is that like there really isn't like a rareness to any of the Superman stuff that comes out. So like there was this like era of collectibles in the late 90s that I have all of, though I did play with them. So well, not late 90s, and it's probably early 90s, but that I did play with around kind of the like Death of Superman era, like 92, 93, 94. And those were super sick, and I have most of them, but they're all like loose toys. My daughter plays with them and stuff. You know, they're not really collectible anymore. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there's just a weird thing. Like I'll just get into like one thing. I mean, you've known me for, you know, over a decade. I just get into one thing for 6 months, and then I'm like, I'm done with that. But I still keep them. I mean, they're still on my desk and stuff, you know. Yeah.
I did it because my parents would also be like into it, and before there was like actual toy shows and Comic Cons where, you know, there was Comic Con And then that was it. It's not all these other renditions that they do, like Planet Comic Con and all this other shit around the country.
Yeah, Wizarding World or whatever.
So
and-
we used to go to train shows, collectible train shows, and they used to have the same thing that was at a comic show. Because my dad really liked to build little trains, and I'd go and I'd start collecting Star Wars stuff. And it was like we make a family outing out of it. Every
Are
season.
model trains like the first? Are they the originator of like the tiny hobby?
I think so, because they go far back into like the 1940s. I believe
Yeah.
Lionel started, or 1930s.
I mean, I have to assume they go back even further than that. Just being that like the train liners themselves would probably put out like models of their flight, not as toys, but they'd put out probably models the same way that like TWA had their, like I don't know if you've ever been to like a pilot's house.
Oh, yo.
Yo,
But,
those
like, every,
planes.
every
shit.
pilot I've ever known is way into planes.
Yeah.
and they're just everywhere.
I just think they're so cool. Like,
I've seen those things go for like $1,600. There was
Yeah.
like one in the window of some mall I was at, and it was like a 777, and it was I think it was like Air Qantas or something, and it was like $1,600. It was huge though. It was like half the size of that table.
and just to add to Plug Your Holes thing on there, Tiavan asked, would we ever consider doing more limited collector's runs for PYH items? And we do. One of the things that we do most of is enamel pins.
Yeah.
Right
yeah,
now,
true.
we're giving away a free enamel pin with every order over 75, and we're going to continue to do that for the rest of the year, pretty much.
And they are limited.
Limited
they
to
change
5,000 run.
yeah.
Once those are gone, we're going to switch to another color, another style. So
But we
that's
also
your
did
only
like
chance you
like
get.
a good example of the really limited ones we did, or Russell Wilson would say limited.
One of 200. We did that
Yeah,
on
we
Black
did one
Friday.
of 200 on Black Friday, one of 200 on New Year's with the I Survived 2020 pins. I mean, we do limited stuff. There's a bunch of things we like toss around. Like lately, it's been so crazy here. Just to give you like kind of like a peek behind the curtain to plug your holes.
I mean, all of our merch is limited. We don't like to reprint shit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wearing a Summer of Bummer. We're
Once
not
we
making
make
this
it,
again.
that's it.
Yeah.
Unless people like a Plug Boy shirt. Plug Boy's
Yeah.
not. We're gonna bring that back, a rendition of it. But, most
then,
of the time,
but then the colorways.
the
get
colorway
limited,
is
and then
different.
you get into sneaker freaks.
Yeah.
Because then it's like you're gonna have 100 pairs of an Air Force One, which is the same shoe.
Right,
Yeah.
but you have 100 color combos.
Exactly.
so that's what we're
Right.
trying to do with stickers and stuff. Even our sticker giveaways that we do, we change it up.
Yeah, here's
Every-
a sneak peek. There's some what are these upcoming ones? Like pink ones, leopard ones, red ones, all sorts of stuff.
Oh, yeah, the
Semi
lep-
Chiefs colored ones that we're not gonna
Chiefs
say
colored
that
ones,
it's
yeah.
Chiefs colored, but
unofficial.
unofficial,
Chiefs
or you could
colors,
just be like McDonald's colored.
There you
Because
go.
it's the same.
Whoa,
Really
hey,
like
whoa,
McDonald's.
whoa, whoa.
And the other one is modeled after the Mandalorian Boba Fett color scheme.
Also, those are not on my desk as any sort of plug either. Those are on my desk because we just got them in today, and Joe wanted to show me them so that I, saw them before we start shipping them out.
I like the leopard one because.
Did you see the
so do I.
Boba Fett one?
No.
It's just his colors of the book of Boba Fett. I was just like, I like these colors. It's like a teal, and I put a little bit of like a distress on it. And I was like, yo, real nerds will get this. If not, I got it.
Well, you just let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah, but
So this is the
Only the cool
exclusive
people.
drop.
Maximus Prime and Tiavan watching right now and talking to us,
Well,
they're
that's
gonna
not
know.
Cool.
Or people listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
Sorry for my phone ringing.
It's okay. You just got anytime that happens, you just look at you and go Hollywood, and that's it.
It's business.
Okay.
Business.
All right.
Oh, sorry. Business is calling.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. It was
When
a
I was
local
younger,
number.
anytime my phone called, people were like, "Oh, look, Hollywood over here." So like, it's just stuck with me that I just like, "Oh yeah, it's Hollywood over here."
Yeah, that's
So-
that's a classic. That's a classic East Coast dig.
Yeah, I don't. But like moving away, I end up like analyzing that stuff, and I'm like, this makes no sense. If you don't get it, I can't explain it to you. It's just like,
People in Hollywood get a lot of phone calls.
Clearly.
sure.
Big Shot would be maybe a little more
I get-
broad version, but
Yeah.
where do all the big shots live? Hollywood. Oh my God! Did you guys see that they arrested some people who changed the Hollywood sign to Holly Boob?
To Holly
No.
what?
Boob.
Okay.
They like went and fucking vandalized like the real sign, made it like put extra stuff up there to make it look like it said Holly Boob.
Is
It's
it
such like
fucked up?
it's such an easy thing to fuck with. You'd think there'd just be somebody up there all the time guarding it.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there's like big ass fences and
You'd think so.
I don't know. All I know really about the Hollywood sign is that it exists.
I can confirm.
And that's kind of it. Like there's a movie I watched semi recently that I can't remember the name of that a guy
La La
is
Land?
hanging from it. What is it?
La La Land.
La La Land? Yeah, I was rewatching my very favorite movie, La La Land.
I love that movie.
Can I bring it back for a sec?
Oh yeah.
Can we
Reel
talk
me, reel
can-
me in.
Can we talk about Gary Vee for a second?
Yes.
I think that
Really?
it's just as Gary Vee, but it's kind of that whole like business like motivation culture. And don't get me wrong, like I've read books by people who are kind of in that world. I've read books by like Tim Ferriss and Simon Sinek is kind of in that dude, you know, that not so much the business side of it, but more, well, I guess he's kind of on the business side of it, but more on like the motivational speaking kind of like find the power within you kind of, you know, like Simon Sinek's book is like his big book is Start With Why. You know, and it's like whatever. I've read a bunch of business books that are kind of like border on that. I've even read a couple Tony Robbins books.
I was about to say, I was like, that sounds like Tony Robbins.
Yeah, the Tony Robbins ones I read weren't like his motivational ones, though. They were his like finance ones, which were kind of weird. But the thing I think is funny about a lot of that, and as like over the years, like, you know, as you become more successful or whatever, there's a certain type of person who asks you certain types of questions. And they're the kind that are, and by the way, which I'm all about answering. Because like, I think the best way to get to where you want to go is to try to like learn from the people who've gotten to where you are, or to, you know, glean some bit of information. Even if I'm not where you want to be or on that path, there's always something to learn in any conversation.
Sure.
So I'm always down to talk to people because I'm probably going to learn something from them too.
Okay.
But what I've always found is weird is how many people have come to me with like a business idea or like really hyped on something or asked a bunch of advice and done nothing. And I really wonder like how much of that, like that culture of like the entrepreneur hype man, like, which I think Gary Vee is like the, you know, the total, like he's the guy in that world, is just like, you're never like, are these people ever going to like take his advice seriously? And because I know that he oversimplifies it, which bugs the shit out of me sometimes, because I think that he gets everybody all riled up, and then they get discouraged when they go try to do something that doesn't work.
I think it might be even somewhere in the middle there, where it's like, if somebody is really hyped on, like, most of that, I feel like most of those advice books, anything I've ever read, watched, whatever, all kind of boils down to do it.
Yeah,
just roll because you got to roll the dice.
Right.
So I feel like if you're a hype man like Gary Vee is, you kind of exist exclusively to convince people to just fucking do it.
Right. Where like Tim Ferriss probably creates more of like a roadmap. Like
is Tim Ferriss I don't know who that is, and I'm imagining Tim, whatever his last name is, the like weird British crazy-haired piano-playing comedian.
No, that's not.
It's not the same guy?
No. Tim Ferriss, he wrote the 4-Hour Workweek. The book is like, it's totally clickbait book title. But the whole point of the book is to kind of give you like he was really like somebody who was like a big supporter of what we now call working from home due to COVID. But he was trying to like convince people to like let their bosses let them do that like 13 years ago. And then basically do your job really well, hit all your numbers, and then like peace out. You know, be like, hey, if I can get my job done in 4 hours of just fucking burning it hard, get out of there and go do your own thing and like start your own. But his whole philosophy is like, do what you do now in 4 hours so that you can use the rest of your time to do something even more important.
Absolutely.
You know, and I definitely agree with that. And
that's what we do here. It's that balance of like,
for sure,
trying to figure out, and we try to promote that. It's like, just get it done, move on to another task that, you know, might take you longer to research and do, so you can kind of free up your mind. I hate bodies in a building. And we always tell people like, this 9 to 5 bullshit doesn't work. If you're going to come here and be like tired and whatnot,
or are you out of shit to do? Go home.
Like, go do that.
Like, yeah.
But we also then try to balance that, because then people take advantage of that. I'm like, well, I gotta go walk my dog, and it's like, nah, you can.
Listen, I just got done working from home for 3 months, and you do, and I feel like if you're at home, you end up having to do things quicker, because otherwise your focus doesn't hold as long at home as it does in a dedicated workspace.
Working from home, I spend time doing shit longer.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it takes me longer to do.
Because I'll be like, cool, I'm doing this thing. Well, I'm going to make a sandwich.
Yeah, the focus shifts. So
what's up, Ralphie? Let me play with you. And, you know,
try having a 7-year-old.
And then you're doing all that, and it's like, oh, cool. It's been 4.5 hours, and I've gotten 50 minutes of work done.
Well, even when we started the business, I worked, you know, we started in a 1-bedroom apartment, but quickly, like shortly afterwards, we were in a 3-bedroom house, and we made one of the rooms an office. And I remember being miserable because I never felt like I was 100% working, but I never felt like I wasn't working. Like it was like constantly kind of working. And so I'd be like, I know I didn't do 16 hours of work today, but I feel like I've been working for 16 hours because I just keep going and doing things. I'll run downstairs, grab lunch. I'll let the dogs out. I'll come back upstairs, do some more work. And it was just, I was miserable. The first, one of the best decisions. So if you are somebody who's starting a business, if you ever get to this point, one of the best things I ever did, and I can imagine a lot of people who are working from home right now, this might be a little bit of good advice as well, but is getting out of the house to do your work, making that separate, like, you know, it's funny because, you know, WeWork was this big deal like a couple of years ago, and now obviously it went under. But the idea of WeWork was just like, it was a good idea, but like 2 years too early. Because I feel right now you would pay a decent amount of money just to have your own private office, just to go do your work, to not be in your house.
Yeah, but WeWork catered. I think WeWork's downfall was them catering too much to like entire businesses.
Right. And also they were fundamentally flawed in the sense that they didn't own any of their own property, so there's no assets behind the business. But I'm not going to get into the business valuation on a
I
company.
mean, that's
right now.
it. That's it in a nutshell.
Right. They were just the
That's it,
middleman.
yeah.
They were the middleman between the landlord and the tenant. That's
Yeah.
it.
They were landlord junior.
Right. And what, you know who's gonna do a really good job at that instead of them?
Airbnb.
Airbnb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Airbnb already has the infrastructure in place. They could do the entire thing super easy as far as like your ability to rent an office for a day or a week or a month, not something long term like I'm committing to this for a year, but just to have the space to do the work when you need to do the work, or to have a meeting when you need to do a meeting.
interesting.
I'm very interested to see how that pans out. They haven't publicly said anything that I'm aware of, but it seems like just such a natural fit for a company like that. Yeah. I'll
We
back
should
off.
just get on the board and tell them what to do. Be like, hey,
Yeah,
here's an
I
idea.
don't have that much
Do it.
capital.
Only if they pay me money.
No,
I believe
don't
it
care.
works the
I
other
want
way
them to
around.
make that better.
In order to get on the board, you have to own enough shares to justify being on the board. If you want to buy 13% of Airbnb, you could probably get on it. But
Yeah, no, I'll do that. I'll hop on.
hop on Robinhood?
Hop on the Robinhood real
Yeah.
quick. Just fucking.
the
Robin the Hood, as people have been. I hate
well.
the internet right now.
So to go back to what you were saying with the business and stuff, and like how we take what we did maybe a year ago and try to reduce that down using cooking terminology to the most potent part of it a year later. So like, what is the most important thing that I was doing a year ago that I still need to do today? That's like whatever the last thing I can't hand off. And then adding a whole nother, whatever, all the other ingredients, the new ingredients on top of it or something like that. I think that like definitely, so I take, you know, like that Tim Ferriss approach works for that kind of stuff. And I think that listening to somebody like, you know, I read both of Gary Vee's books just because out of curiosity. And I think that, you know, I think he's really good at motivating people. It's like, he's like a hype man. He's like that dude in the locker room who's like slapping you on the helmet and being like,
Yeah, he's always yelling.
yeah,
He's just
like,
always yelling.
yeah, you give it up today, pussy. You give it up today. You know, like it's yeah. You're just like,
That's why I never played sports.
okay.
I hate that shit. Don't yell at me. I don't. Nothing in life do I want to do where I'm getting yelled at to do something.
Okay.
Well, but you're not getting yelled at.
The only way Mahomes, when he's like, be us, that's cool. That's like
He's
good
yelling
hype.
at them. That
But
is
he's
what
like
that is.
hype. It's just that mean shit.
you
where it's
just
like,
don't like
"Mother,
the-
you need to do. No, we're playing a sports game, bro. Sit down.
Nah, man, they're going
Sit
to war,
the
dude.
fuck
They're
down.
going to
I hate
war.
I've always hated
I'm just
that.
gonna start sending you a Ray Lewis like hyping the Ravens defense up video every day for the next week.
It makes me angry. It makes me want to shut down and punch you.
Okay.
If that's why I was like, nah, fuck
You
this, I'm
gotta
out.
use that energy, Joe.
No.
You gotta harness that.
Why
hate.
You gotta
is that-
punch the other team. That's what
Why-
he wants you to do.
Okay, but is there anybody ever in sports that looks at it from the other way? That doesn't have to have you yelling at it. It's just be like, yo, let's be friendly and
No.
hype this up and be cool and power each other up, not in a mean
I don't
way.
think
Hey,
so.
hey, Joe.
Why you gotta be mean?
I know I've known a lot of athletes in my life.
Yeah.
The answer is unequivocally no. That is
Not
it is-
even an
it's
athlete.
It's about getting.
I could have been an athlete, mate. An athlete?
You'd have been like the most chill dude I've. Only kickers can get away with that shit.
Ooh.
Like,
They have one fucking job:
They have to be
hey,
zen.
they have 3 jobs.
Hey now,
kick the ball.
Place,
you better
hold the
not
ball,
talk shit on kickers.
yeah.
and they're
better
typically
not
like
shot-
the 4th string quarterback every once in a while.
I don't care about sports. I'll talk shit on kickers all I want.
You've got a former kicker in the
Yeah.
room right here.
Exactly.
Almost
Former.
to college. Yeah,
Go home.
The
I'll kick you.
yeah, the thing I think is funny, I think when it comes to like the weird businessy thing though, and all the hype, and that's all that great. It's great. It's kind of like, I look at it like kind of like religion, where like new believers are like really like super excited when they first like get to any religion, and I kind of feel that way about like the way Gary Vee is like a freaking speaking in tongues type of church reverend.
Oh,
you know
he's
what I
a
mean?
tent revival
Yeah,
preacher?
he's a tent revival. Yeah, exactly. So he, but I feel that the thing that makes a business successful and that makes like a person successful is just like being humble, showing up and doing the job, and just kind like always like assume that you're doing it wrong always, and just always get better. Just always figure out what you're doing wrong,
Right.
and just keep fixing that. And then eventually, more of it works than doesn't.
And then get lucky.
There's luck involved. I mean, don't be wrong. I was born on the right plot of soil.
No, I think he said then give up.
No, then get lucky.
Get
oh,
lucky. Get
I
lucky.
thought he said
You
then
gotta
give up.
you can't just have luck, and you can't just have hard work. You gotta have a little bit of both. You gotta have the secret
Yep.
sauce.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's
I don't know what that is, but
no. I mean, nobody does. It's the
that's why
Grogu.
I'm not. That's why I'm not Gary V. Yeah, Grogu, the secret sauce, available at your finest Dylan's establishment.
Yo, I'm making that as
yeah
a
currently
t-shirt or
available at
something.
Rite Aid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so I always think that stuff's weird. That's the only reason I wanted to touch on that, because like
Yeah.
that whole world of like motivational business talk is, and it did exist in other worlds. It's not just business. It's there'll be somebody selling real estate seminars or whatever else it might be. It's always about getting you excited about the product so they can get their $500 out of you, and so they don't care if you fall flat on your face.
Mm-hmm.
It's all a big. It's a thing. But the speaking of falling flat on the face though. The thing I wanted to talk about today, and I know this has been going on for a couple of weeks now, but definitely wanted to talk about what's going on with the GameStop stock. By the way, everybody,
Stocks and GME, that's all I know. You have to
everybody,
say it that way.
right? Every commentator, I've heard almost every commentator on CNBC and everywhere else, Yahoo Finance and Bloomberg, it is so almost impossible to say GameStop stock that that all of them, I think, have just given up. And there's like, GameStop. That's it.
The game stock.
Yeah. So
That's amazing.
Listen.
I'm not
I've
going to
seen
go into
our-
explaining what's happening because that's probably been done to death. But what I kind of want to like give my take on it a little bit, and that is from a completely so I am bought in on it, not because I care about making money necessarily on that particular stock, but because I like really see it as like an investor form of activism,
Sure.
and that
You are going to lose money, though. It's going to happen.
I might not. I don't care.
Technically, you don't lose money until you sell.
True story.
Yes.
That's some smooth brained thinking right there.
Don't sell.
Just don't sell, and you never lose money.
You never know what's gonna happen.
You won't make money either, but you won't lose it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dun dun.
The idea of like Occupy Wall Street doing functionally nothing for the stock market in 08, and obviously it happened in Zuccotti Park in 2011. But I think it's funny that like, oh no, it takes a bunch of crude Wall Street bets, Redditors, to be the ones that actually do something to like fuck with the hedge funds.
I consider it a donation to the
A donation
cause.
to the cause.
That's why, I threw a couple of bucks at it, and that's it. I don't care. I've lost, looking at the number, it's like, oh, shit, I came in too high, and I don't care. But I'm not pulling out. I'm going to stay there.
Okay.
It's mostly fun. Like, this is,
I have some skin in the game.
yeah, having skin in the game is the fun part because this is gambling.
It's gambling.
Like-
It's not, and that's the thing people need to, that they're not focusing on is that people that don't understand it are looking at it as an investment idea.
Right.
And it's like, no, you should be leading with the gamble and taking down the
Yeah.
stock market
And like the
as your
stock
important
market
part.
is, I personally have always thought that the stock market has inherently been gambling.
Mhm.
And now I feel very justified in my position of like, yeah, this is all ridiculous.
So
And it's semi-rigged.
I'm gonna push back on that a little bit. The one thing, so I will definitely agree that what's going on with GameStop right now is somewhere between putting your money where your mouth is and gambling. I think if you're doing it for the sake of just getting some gains, you're just you're risking it. It's a very speculative thing to do.
Yeah.
Though if you look at the math behind the original reason they were doing it, to put a short squeeze and then a gamma squeeze on a overly shorted stock that was shorted more than 100% of the shares, it actually makes a lot of sense. The problem that I'm seeing right now is that the hedge funds are barring something major happening with the debt that is owed to cover these stocks coming Friday or something like that. They might have to cover and might bump the stock back up. I don't know. There's a lot of, this is something for somebody who's dramatically smarter than I am. I do invest. I am an active investor. I do manage my own account, but I am nowhere near the level of the people who understand all the inner workings behind the scenes and understand, the nitty gritty are they're some smart, well-educated individuals.
So where do you stand on it being rigged? Because it all kind of still feels rigged, even with all of the research and all of the things that all
Which side of it?
Rigged in favor of the big dogs.
Are you referring to GameStop specifically or the market in general?
Well, let's go small and let's go with GameStop specifically.
Okay, so GameStop, the reason it was so rigged, yes, but it's more of like a pilot all on. If you have power in numbers, you're going to use them. So having that company be heavily shorted allowed for its stock to become depressed, and it almost becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So a company that's probably worth $15 a share is now at $6 or something like that because it's so heavily shorted, and it brings down the price. Now, what people do on the other end of that is use their numbers, bring the stock back up. Now all those short positions are out of the money, and therefore the hedge funds are losing. And what happened in this particular time is a squeeze happens, which means it becomes they have to buy back these shares. More people pile on, makes the news nationally. More people pile on. It becomes like this crazy thing. That is like a weird quirk of the market that I wouldn't consider.
You also are currently not arguing in favor of the big dogs, because right now I'm talking about past all that, where we're at right now.
Yeah,
stock's low as shit. It seems
it's at $98.99 right now.
It seems like they're winning, despite the math.
I'm not so convinced.
We don't know yet,
right?
I don't know. The thing that's fun about this for me is that you don't really know. There are not the definite odds of roulette. The definite odds
Correct.
of blackjack.
Right.
Whatever, because they tell you, and then you just kind of go, yeah, maybe I can win, and that's silly because you're betting against the house, and the house always wins. That same mentality feels like it's happening right now because
I don't disagree with that. And
everybody knows all this stuff, and then you bet against the house, meaning the big dogs.
Also, the fair majority of the people don't know the math behind it, and I only know part of the math. I'm not even somebody who understands the full concept.
Okay, but it just seems crazy that all of the Melvin Capital getting shorted, all this information, and now it's just like, nope, they did it. They're fine. They got out of this thing that.
Well, I think there's
last week everyone said was impossible for them to get out of, and then it just seems crazy. There's a lot going on, and I feel even more lost than I did at the beginning of it.
Which I understand, but I think there's a lot of FUD in the press right now.
What is FUD?
Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. It's a pretty common investing term when you want to yeah. So if you're a
you
fudge,
learn things at Plug Your Holes.
if you're a fudster, you go on CNBC, you talk to Jim Cramer, you talk to somebody else, and you talk about all the reasons. Do you remember, I don't know if you watched any CNBC back when Tesla was first starting to rally? Because Tesla was a short squeeze as well.
Oh, yeah.
The shorts were weighing down Tesla, making it artificially lower than it was, which is why I was able to get into it so cheap, a little under 2 years ago. But what happens is it creates a rubber band effect that when it does overcome and those shorts have to cover, people start panicking. And so you start seeing talking heads come up on MSNBC and Bloomberg and Yahoo and Wall Street Journal and everywhere else. And all they're doing is trying to discredit, there's no way a car company can be worth this much money. Not acknowledging the fact that it's not a car company, it's something else. Not acknowledging the 8, 9, 10 streams of revenue they're going to have in the next decade. Not acknowledging solar or energy or any of these other things. And sure, that's fine. Everybody has their own opinion. But that's kind of how disruptive technologies work a lot of the times. But when you think about who has a vested interest, whether it be oil or automotive or just people who are trying to protect the shorts that are betting against it, which at a certain point in time was probably a smart move by the short sellers to go against Tesla because they were so close to being on the brink of bankruptcy with the Model 3 launch.
Right.
So I get the thinking, this car company's never going to make it. We haven't had a new American car company in over 100 years. So that's gone into mass production. I mean, we had that 3 headlighted car in the 50s, but they only made 53 of them. Tucker was the name of that car.
How do you know that? That's a weird thing to know. Continue.
Yeah. Anyway, I like cars and I like random trivia, but I get why they did it. They lost billions of dollars shorting Tesla because there's a little bit of fandom, whether it be for Elon, the car, or just new technology that went into it. A lot of people saw maybe it's the new Apple. Apple was another company that was incredibly shorted back in its day. So So I get it. Now these short sellers have, you would think they've learned their lesson a few times. Now GameStop is not one of those. GameStop, now though they signed a new executive and they have a partnership with Microsoft and they have all this stuff that could potentially increase their valuation. It's not going to increase their valuation.
It's not fucking $450 valuation. It's,
Exactly.
It's like you said, they were, I don't know, they were worth like $40 a couple years ago or something.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And
So-
they shouldn't even be worth that right now. They should probably be worth 15 maybe.
Right.
Yeah, so I definitely understand that, like, this can work when a company's good, but when a company's bad, what the shorts were doing is they were trying to bankrupt the company. That's why they went overboard on the shorts, went over 100%. It's because they wanted to bankrupt the company and just cannibalize the company. There's a guy named Carl Icahn who kind of popularized this kind of stuff in the 80s, and he would basically he's the one who broke up TWA. So he went into TWA, and instead of buying, like what a lot of people would have done in an acquisition back in the day, would buy a company and either merge it with another or buy it and try to rehabilitate it back to its former glory. And TWA wasn't even all that failing of a brand at the time. It was just not doing great.
This is the airline company, right?
Yeah, based out of here in Kansas City.
Yeah.
And it was either St. Louis. Were they based out of here or were they based out of St. Louis?
Probably St. Louis because
We have a TWA building here, but I don't think we were the main hub. I think we might have been a hub. But because the building in the Crossroads with the rocket on it, that's that former
the Barclay building.
Yeah, that's that former TWA building.
Oh,
Yeah, there's also an apartment building that used to be by me that was where all the pilots would sleep when they were on overnights.
cool.
Yeah. So, but with what Carl Icahn did with TWA is he bought it, and instead of doing anything productive with it, like you would probably want for the greater sake of the economy, he just sold off all the parts. And he felt the parts. He evaluated the company and said, these parts are worth more than than what I'm
brand.
paying for it.
Sure.
I'm not going to take 10 years of my life try to rehabilitate this company. I'm just going to cannibalize it for all of its parts and then walk away with a big chunk of change.
Sure.
And so I think that kind of like started this trend of like, the Bill Ackman and these kind of people who come in and come in really short against companies, taking advantage of the fact that they're close to bankruptcy or they might be heading in that way. And then they walk out with big money at the end because their bet paid off, but they also manipulated that bet just due to the fact that they were shorting it so heavily. So billions of dollars weighs down the company. Anyway,
That's fucked up.
I think that, yeah, and I
That's
don't
fucked up.
necessarily agree with it. Especially don't agree with that you should be able to short a company so heavily. You shouldn't be able to short a company for more stocks than exist.
No.
But to go back to the broader market question, do I think the game is rigged? I definitely don't think it's gambling, and that's the thing I was pushing back on in particular. But is it rigged? No, I think it's manipulated, and I think that we lack the ability to manipulate as much as they do because there's less of us than there are them. There's less money in the retail side
Right.
than there is in the other side. Also, I think that when people have like individual investment, like when you have a portfolio manager, or let's say you have enough money to have like a financial advisor or something like that, they don't necessarily have to do everything in your best interest, and then they take a lot of fees on top of it. So they're taking a cut of what would eventually be the money you would make. And so I've always tried to make myself like an informed investor as best as I can be, to invest in the companies that I think are going to have the longest lasting power. So like that's why I'm long on Tesla, and I'm long on Square, and I'm long on Airbnb, and I'm like I'm long on these companies or whatever. Every once in a while I'll make an impulsive bet based on some like merger that's going to come up or something like that. But do I think? I don't think it's gambling. I think that if you're patient and you have the money to put into it over a long period of time, and you can have any sort of understanding of the compass of where the world's going,
Sure.
you can set yourself up pretty nicely in the long term. But there are years like what is it? Vladimir Lenin said, there are years where nothing happens, and there are days where decades happen. So this feels like one of those moments. Anybody who got into investing this year, this is not normal. I've been investing for 5 or so years now, pretty aggressively, and I've never seen a year with this kind of growth on any stock, much less Tesla. But also and we might be in a really big bull market. This might last for a long time. It might be over tomorrow. I don't know. But just understand that like having an 8% return one year is totally normal. Like just because you had 30 this year doesn't mean that's what is to be expected. So it's just one of those things. Long term, you're playing the compound interest. You're playing the long dollar. You're trying to set yourself up at retirement to have as much. And you just want to buy stocks, forget about them, or buy index funds and forget about them for 30 years.
Right.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
When the market works, sure, it's good. And I know that the market informs lots of other things and blah, 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 and just a bunch of stuff that I don't care about. Because inherently it seems, maybe rigged isn't the right word. It's unethical. The ethics of the stock market to me feel gray at best.
Okay.
It's true, like shorting.
Like the fact that you can bet on a company failing and then make like if it was real betting, if you were it was two hedge funds betting each other, hey, I think this company's gonna fail.
Well,
is
that's why
that
it's
how
there.
is that how the short actually works?
Yeah, somebody has to be selling those short contracts.
So it's basically two hedge funds betting with each other, but it also will then influence the death of the company.
Yes.
Okay, well then yeah, it still seems unethical to me.
But
So
the
I'm still kind of stuck in this.
The thing that bothers me about shorts is it pulls down the value of the stock. If it didn't do anything, I don't care.
right.
Like if it was a side bet.
Side bet. I mean,
Yeah.
we've talked
Yeah.
about this, and that's the thing that bothers me because it's like, why should that be affecting? Because then you can physically say, I'm going to help bring this stock down. If some big billionaire wanted to
I mean, that's
destroy
what
a
they
company,
did when they shorted GameStop. You look at that and you go, well, GameStop must be on the fucking way out. I'll also short it.
we all kind of know they're on the way out. They just sell games, and most people are downloading this shit. And we don't need another store to sell collectibles.
I disagree.
Target's doing better job than they
Fuck
do.
Target, GameStop. I don't know. The thing that also I feel like personally in on this, and I think that's probably why GameStop is the stock that this happened with specifically.
Well, it's definitely because it was over 100% shorted, and it's the only company on the market that's over 100%
Yeah, I'm really
shorted.
curious about what you're about to say about fuck Target. I don't
But-
understand.
But I definitely understand the sentiment of about what you're about to say.
I do not give a shit about a big corporation doing anything better than even if it's a smaller corporation.
They're two corporations. What's the
Yeah, but I
difference?
don't want Target to have a monopoly on anything. I don't want.
see what you're saying.
I don't
You're-
really want Target.
You're
to do
worried about the
anything
anti-competitive behavior,
better.
not yeah.
I want them to do it.
I'm just happy
Target.
that there's someone else is selling, like Toys R Us. As a collector, we just has a whole
Toys R
segment
Us
about
should
collecting.
still be around. There's
It-
no
it-
reason it shouldn't. People
and-
buy toys.
Well,
People
exactly.
buy games.
Well, the whole reason Toys R Us disappeared is because when they also absorbed FAO Schwarz, they fucked up. The whole reason FAO Schwarz existed as a company around is that they first had their business model was an experience. When you walked in that store as a kid, and I used to go there, they had a magician showing you to buy this stupid magician set, and I begged my parents to buy that $30 piece of crap at the time because like the guy showed me how to do this. Cool. It was like going into Home Alone, even though that wasn't FAO Schwarz in that movie, but it was supposed to be FAO Schwarz. It's actually a toy store in Chicago. It presented you that wonder that you felt when you watched that movie existed in real life. Toys R Us fell flat with that. And then they bought FAO Schwarz, and then they dismantled that. The only thing that they had going for them is the store in Times Square that was awesome with the big Ferris wheel, and they tried to emulate that, but they didn't do it enough. They were just worried about being on top. Toy stores would still exist if they worried about that experience that you could have going to a store.
I think there's
You're
a place
probably right.
There's a place here in Kansas City, Brookside Toy and Science, that has a really great, like, it's just not stuff you would normally find in any, like, you wouldn't find it at Target or Walmart.
Absolutely.
They found
That's
their
a store.
They found their own
Example.
niche in that toy market. But I would say that the bigger concern with why, like, a retailer like Toys R Us or GameStop or anything has gone under is because just the competitive nature of the big three, Target, Walmart, and Amazon. Especially the Amazon side of it, because like, why go to that little store over there in the parking lot? Why find parking again? A lot of people don't want us to make, we come from an era when we were kids, making 13 stops felt normal.
Yeah.
Now it's just like, I'm going to do curbside at Target and everything else is coming off Amazon, and that's like, now I understand the curbside thing is probably new to the last year, but like the Amazon part isn't. Like, my in-laws buy my daughter all of her presents off Amazon as gifts. You know what I mean? Like, they don't want to come to their house and having to reship to us. And then, it just becomes like, my mom orders her furniture off Amazon, and we've ordered some stuff off Wayfair and IKEA, and it's like the online present side of it and the super competitive all in one location type nature of it all is made Toys R Us kind of obsolete to that side of it. And I don't particularly have a problem with it. I think like naturally as things evolve, things will die off. It's kind of like clearing the forest or whatever. But and then it creates more opportunities for companies like ours and a lot of the smaller companies like Michael's, where you have holes in the market because we're providing a niche that is not serviced by any of the major corporations or something like that. Also, we're a competitor because we're online. But I just don't see a way Toys R Us could have succeeded outside of cutting their stores down to about 10% of them and making every one of them an experience store like it's a goddamn Nebraska Furniture Mart.
An experience store and focusing
Toys R Us
on
was already fucking Nebraska Furniture Mart for kids.
I'm sorry, what?
I said Toys R Us was already by its existence was already a Nebraska Furniture Mart. For kids.
I'm a huge nerd.
Games-
So I've toured a lot, and on tour with touring over 10 years or whatever, I'd always go into Toys R Us's and stuff around the neighborhood
Sure.
to look for different collectibles and stuff. Outside of New York, they all suck. They all sucked, and that's why I really
I
stand
agree.
firm
Everyone
on
I've ever
that.
been in sucks.
They
I have
are
two
a
things to
Walmart
say.
missing the food.
I have 2 things to say. You were an adult when you went,
But I still have that child wonder in me that
but
I
you're
look
not
for
a
that
child.
stuff.
But you're not a child. You already know something better exists. FAO Schwartz will never exist again. That type of high, it's just not profitable, which is truly the key, truly the issue. If it's not profitable, it's
Agreed.
garbage, which is fucking stupid.
Why is it not profitable?
Because it costs too much. Otherwise, it would still be around if it was profitable.
So I'm
but
gonna-
a Toys R Us is a big, dedicated space to just toys.
It was profitable, but
That's
Toys R Us
fucking-
killed it because they were worried about their brand.
Regardless,
And it's
There-
actually came back because they re-bought the brand. So now that they,
FAO Schwartz is back.
yes, it's back. They now have toys in Target, and they're going on a smaller scale. They're showing up in airports. They're
I'm fucking
following that
eating- I'm
customer
over
actually
here
have some-
experience.
eating my words.
Atlee has some FAO Schwartz remote control cars.
Yeah, and they're focusing on just those little toys that like brought up that experience for people when they went to FAO Schwartz more than being just a toy seller. They could have had the other part, but that was destroyed. So they're trying to figure out how can I come back, and it's building up that brand of their toys the old school way.
Okay, so
Now they're just a toy company.
riddle me this: what is cooler? Going into Target, which imagine you are 10.
Okay, I'm 10.
What's cooler? Going to Target where they sell clothes and groceries and cleaning supplies and paper towels and milk
And a limited selection of toys.
and 2 rows of toys.
That right there is the key. It's
No,
cooler
2 rows
to
of
go.
toys. What's cooler? You didn't let me finish. Or going into a building the same size as a Target, all toys.
Absolutely number 2.
Yeah, it's absolutely number 2.
So,
the problem is the kids.
GameStop is the same version. I really don't give a shit about Toys R Us, guys.
As
I'm
a-
trying to
as
get
a
back to
parent,
No,
GameStop.
Toys R Us had like too much clothes and stuff at a certain point too. That kind of took from that and started to lose their focus on what they were selling to people.
Can I speak to this as a parent?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bringing your kids to a toy store sucks.
For you.
Yeah, but it sucks. So if we had a store here, if we had like non-COVID times, if we had a store here that was like, how he describes FAO Schwartz or how he
Just
you know,
all toys. Like
all toys,
fucking
but
Mecca.
also kind of like the Mall of America. When we go up to Minnesota, usually because I live, my hometown is 3 hours north of Minneapolis. So so it makes it about a 9-hour drive after stops and everything. So we will usually stop for the night in Minneapolis, stay near the Mall of America, go to the big theme park in there because in the middle of the winter, it's the only thing you can do that feels like you're outside. We'll let her ride around some roller coasters. We'll let her, see stores, whatever. If that was the option I had on like a Saturday or even like a day off from school or something like that to bring her to an experience that is more than just the toys, I would do it. And I'm sure and at that point, I don't care that she's being indoctrinated with SpongeBob and Ninja Turtles.
Right.
But the toy store itself, it's kind of a nightmare to bring a kid to. And we're not a family that like spoils her with all the toys she wants. And so she knows how to react when we say no or just one or something to that effect.
Sure.
But it's just like pulling teeth to get her out of there. And then it's dude, the worst thing we get in the mail every year, and I try to throw it away every time it comes, but I missed it this year, is the Target Kids Toy Buying Guide for the holidays.
Yeah.
And it's
Because that's an
36
emulation of the
pages
Toys R Us one that
fucking
existed.
toys.
They
Dude,
just
she's-
took the toy. That was a Toys R Us catalog. I couldn't wait for
Exactly.
that to come in. Once that disappeared, Target jumped on it, and I
Yes,
think it's
they did.
fantastic that
Absolutely.
they did that. So I just want to say this point. I agree that having a store is better, but I don't like GameStop because it's focusing on the video game side of it. It doesn't have that experience factor. It's just some toys thrown in the corner. They don't give a shit about them. They're just trying to bring you into this store to do that. And their selection, the way it's set up, every GameStop I've ever been into is just a wall with a bunch of crap. It's like a Hot Topic, which I've always hated Hot Topic's way of doing that because they just try to put a bunch of shit in the thing. And you can't look. One of the greatest things I like to do as a kid is like browse and look and see what I can see.
An experience.
I don't want to have to move shit on a shelf to look at what I'm
Yeah, I agree with
you know, if I got to do a couple, but like if you go on a Hot Topic or GameStop, their pop wall, there's so much shit crammed. I got to take 18 boxes as a grown man looking for something. I feel stupid. moving all these boxes trying to look for something. Target, the reason why I'm just happy that they're doing something is they're actually putting in collectibles. My biggest problem with a lot of these stores is they never cared about the actual cool $50 toys. It's just the $12.99 action figures.
Sure.
They're going with the more high-end collectibles, which is cool to see, which is something that GameStop was kind of the only reason I would go there, is because they're the only ones that had something like that anymore. So the fact that Target is actually doing that.
Like if you want like a 24-inch The Witcher, you know what I mean? Like, and you don't want to buy it on eBay, you know, there might be a chance that your local GameStop has one.
Well,
But now Target is starting to do that,
realistically, the
which is
only
great.
place you were able to do it is at a physical GameStop location. That's
Or
how
a
it used
comic
to
book
be.
store that
Yeah,
some guy
comic book
bought, and you know, it ends up being the values thrown up because
Yeah.
they have a wholesale account with
But
Entertainment Earth.
GameStop, I don't know. GameStop got its rally, and so many people went behind it because GameStop has for people, you know, 10 to 15 years, your guys' junior. That is their FAO shorts. You go to the mall, you want to go to GameStop.
I went to GameStop as a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, my GameStop was called Funko Land originally.
Yes, we had the Funko Land, whether it's Funko Land, EB Games.
EB Games was the one.
It's
Yeah.
fun.
Funko Land?
Yeah.
Yeah, Funko Land was mine.
Funko Land.
And then
Funko, like Funko Pop?
Funko.
Oh, Funko Land.
Yeah, with a C.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like,
Funko
what?
Land.
and it was like a rainbow, like, or what? Not rainbow, but it was multicolor. Every letter was a
yeah,
different
it
color.
was tight. We had one of those. That was the jam.
Yeah.
And GameStop has also never really hindered, unlike Toys R Us for sure, and really, you know, the big three, etc. GameStop never really hindered independent video game stores, which I think was I think that's the boon of it.
Maximus and Tevin. I think I'm saying it right this time.
Okay.
I'm saying Tevin and
Well, there's a
Tevin.
Tevin. There's a Tevin Coleman who plays football for
Tevin.
the.
There's also the
49ers.
very famous R&B
they
singer
just they
Tevin
brought it
Campbell.
out that I pronounced the name wrong, and I feel bad about it. But I explained them from New York, and I say everything wrong, so it's fine.
Sure.
Or correct. Maybe just you guys just say everything wrong.
Nope.
It's mozzarella, not mozzarella. And you're a herb. Anyway,
I am a herb, but I cook with herbs.
they miss going to like Hollywood Video and Blockbuster and all that.
Absolutely.
I miss
saw
that
somebody
stuff
getting a
too,
Redbox. I saw
because they
somebody
used
that
to do that. But I feel like GameStop is just not Blockbuster.
Well, the physical.
Why do we
copies
need?
thing, man?
Why do we need games? Why do
you
we
don't
need
play
to go-
video games. You don't get it.
But
I
can't
do.
you?
I
Don't
do,
you
and
download them?
I download everything. I don't do hard copies anymore.
Are you just?
You're 40.
Are
I
you
don't know.
someone saying the same thing that your
Hey,
argument of why Blockbuster still
37.
exists?
37.
Because you miss going to the store and finding that movie. That's
Yes.
great. But that's not a good business model. It could go into an experience model where you can have one GameStop in a
No,
100-mile
listen,
radius.
This obsession with experiences and pop-ups is fucking stupid.
It's
and
not.
toxic. Yes, it is. It
Why?
leaves
Where
no-
is your argument?
Because it leaves no room for mids, which is that's the bedrock of America, baby, is mids.
Okay, but the market gets what
If
the
you
market
can't
demands.
just smoke the loudest loud all day, you're going to get
understand.
stupid. And you can't smoke dirt weed because it sucks. So you want mids.
But hey,
GameStop is right there in the middle.
but boats.
Yeah.
The market decides.
Which is
No, and I don't
personal-
mean I don't mean the stock market.
No,
I mean
literally
the
people buying and
the
et cetera.
consumer. Rent
Yeah.
costs so much. Games cost so much. Employees cost
Trust
so much.
me, I know.
If people choose to not buy, they can't stay open. The market has decided that the majority of GameStop locations are not profitable.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. I mean,
I don't
do
have to
agree
be
with you.
happy about it. And
Yeah,
I don't
no,
have to
okay.
agree
But why
that
do you-
Target taking up the fucking the dregs
mantle?
of it is a good thing.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
just
I
happy
don't
that they're, like I said, I'm just happy that they're actually putting something out there to make it more accessible to
It'll
people.
always be out. We have the internet. You can buy direct from the supplier.
I know,
if you
Entertainment
want.
Earth, all that, but sometimes I just want to see the physical product before I want to know if I want to waste my money on it.
Me too, and that's why GameStop should stick around. I like what you're talking about of like digging through 18 Funko Pops is the equivalent of going to a record store and seeing 100 records and going, maybe there's one good one.
Gotcha. I agree.
That is the experience.
I
but
do
think
agree with that with the
GameStop
record
is
store.
You know what I
lacking
mean?
Yeah, I agree with that.
in their setup because it's
There's
always
this
just a
punk rock-
small ass corner.
There's
the
this
same
punk rock
small
place
corner.
on Sunset Boulevard, this punk rock record store that's surrounded by all these like bougie places, and it's like, and I also understand that like there's a lot of punk rock culture that's been adopted into bougie culture. So like you're seeing like a bunch of like Japanese tourists going there buying Misfits t-shirts and stuff, which is cool, good for them. But the looking through the records and finding like there's the Jam. I bought the Jam, right? A record by the Jam, and like I do appreciate that kind of experience of like.
Are you talking about Amoeba Records?
It's not Amoeba, no. Amoeba's huge, and it's on Melrose.
And they closed.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
did they really?
closed. Yeah.
They
Oh, wow.
they
No, this is like a
the market decided, and again, that's a bad thing.
Virgin
The
Megastore
market can
closed.
suck my ass. Tower Records closing? Bullshit.
I missed that. The Virgin Megastore in Times Square was a fucking amazing experience.
So
Yeah.
outside of your own selfishness,
Yes.
what is your reason that the market can quote unquote suck your ass when it comes to like something closing?
When it comes to what?
When it comes to something closing due to it not being like financially viable.
Yeah.
What is
I don't personally care because it's not my business. I don't care if it's financially viable. I don't think your average consumer cares if something is financially viable. So
but
the
then
market,
what do you do to keep something open then?
I don't know. Again, not the market guy.
Okay.
I understand that things close when they don't have money.
Mm.
I am unhappy about it.
Okay.
Market can suck my ass because things that lose money still can stick around. I mean, we see that with all types of internet related things that don't turn profit.
Well, that's a different story.
I know there's no way to secretly sell information from people who just come into the door, which
Well, there's also like the fact that they're able to open up like seed B, like Series B, venture capitalist funding, and the idea is it's the promise of future profits. And
actually venture capitalism could be the solution because I guess it would end up being, I don't know, people would think of it as charity.
more like
which
venture
is-
socialism at that point. They're not looking to make a profit, but
Listen, you would eventually make a profit, I think. Because the market decides, but the market isn't always right, and the market is finicky. Like Amoeba Records closed because of COVID. COVID's actually a perfect example. The
it's an
market,
artificial influence on the market.
right? The market was forced into doing things because it had to.
Yes.
So, it's not really indicative of what really should have happened in a healthy market. I don't know. Maybe there should be some sort of protection, maybe a grace period, whatever you want to do.
I'm a firm believer. I mean, I do believe in what you're saying there.
Yeah.
When artificial circumstances cause a business to have artificially low numbers, I think there should be like a halting on debt payments and interest. I think there should
Like
be
the fucking music industry.
yeah, like the
Literally.
literally the music industry. Yeah, I agree 100%. But it's a hard one. I mean, like, okay, so for those who don't know, I know we've mentioned it before, but we have a bunch of employees here who were employed in the music industry before this, and some started as temporary, and have become permanent. Some are temporary and are waiting for the music industry to open back up. And one of them, I was talking to one of them, our employees, Amanda, the other day, and she's like, "Do you just go back to full steam? How many of the employees that you lost are going to come back at all?"
Who knows?
Because they've had to go. Now they're in a different industry. Maybe they're making better money there, or maybe they're happier there, or oh yeah, Mike's pointing at himself over here. He was a photographer for the KU sports team, and left there when that dried up because of COVID, and came here, and he's not going back. How many people are not going to? How many jobs are not even going to be able to? How many jobs will not even be able to be gotten back? But at the and at the same time, it's like now would the flip side of that coin is would you want to spend a year getting paid to do nothing? And I know some people, the answer is yes, but some people want to be doing something.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, even if the government had paid all those people's salaries that entire time, the question is like, could you mentally even handle that? Like I couldn't personally sit around and just make my salary and do nothing, but risk.
Well, you wouldn't do nothing. That would mean if you.
At the beginning of this, it would have felt like that though.
No, I understand, but I mean, I think about it like this. That's where the Gary V hype machine would come into play, where there would need to be somebody coming up with basically a fuckload of ideas all the time, and most of them are worthless, but it doesn't matter. It would be like, realistically, if every music venue, of all of their employees, the government paid them, and I'll use that as the example, then every music venue just starts a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're getting paid, quote unquote, to do
Right.
the
Yeah,
podcast.
there is a thing you're getting paid to
There's
do.
a thing
it's just
you're
no
doing.
longer
It
what your job
also
was.
helps the business stay in people's
Stay
minds.
relevant. Yeah.
In this specific extenuating circumstance of global pandemic, you're locked inside. Also, everything's a little more special. I think,
Yeah.
I don't know if anything like this, you'd hope nothing like this could happen again, but, sure it could. But knowing that, you prepare to prevent people from going crazy from doing nothing. Because, that's
Yeah.
probably super common that if you don't have enough to do, you're going to be like a wild animal in a cage, pacing back and forth. Chew your own leg off one of these
Right.
days.
No, I do agree with that. And I think that that's probably a big stress that we've avoided a lot here, just due to the fact that we have to be here. So we just expanded the amount of space we have so we can be as far away from each other as possible.
Right.
But yeah, I definitely understand. I think the market is really good at deciding when something has outlived its welcome, in a broader sense. And I think like sometimes businesses have the wrong motivation to be the company they need to be. Whereas like everybody is so focused on growth and size and location and everything that sometimes people have a hard time retracting back to what they actually should be in that moment. So maybe Amoeba Records shouldn't have closed. Maybe it should have moved 12 blocks over into a place half the size. You know, I understand that location is significant and very, you know, key to its history.
Yeah.
But if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. Maybe the market is telling you you can't afford to be there now, but do you want to exist or do you want to be nothing?
But the market is wrong. So how do you?
What do you mean the market's wrong?
Well, the market is wrong because Amoeba was doing perfectly fine prior.
I'm
I see what
sorry.
you're saying.
In
In
instance of
Amoeba's
prior
sense-
to global pandemic.
In the instance of Amoeba, if it was something that was tipped over the edge by the pandemic, but my understanding of Amoeba is that it wasn't doing all that well, just because of the massive loss in hard copy music sales. But and probably the rent in the area going through the roof.
that I can see.
Right.
I don't think the physical music sales have actually been better
just due to vinyl.
just due to vinyl.
Right. And
they
I'm sure
are
there
a
are plenty of
record store,
collectibles
so-
and they have like in stores and all that stuff.
Yeah, you want to talk collectibles, memorabilia for movies and all. I mean, they had all types of
They
shit.
might be an outlier, and I'm not disagreeing with that. But something like a GameStop, for example. Let's say GameStop was a standalone store, just the one,
Just
one,
the one,
in
yeah.
Westport here. Let's say.
The
worst
best,
one.
The best one.
The worst one. Actually, no. The worst one
Yeah.
is up by the Hy-Vee over here. And so where would that be? Help me, because I don't know directions.
Up towards my house,
yeah,
The
like
north.
off 54th.
the one where I dropped you off at the Jeep dealership that time.
Oh God, up off Burlington. Yeah.
Yeah. So is that what area would that be? So our listeners know.
kind of like almost into Gladstone.
Gladstone area. Every time I go there to just do something, like pick something up, and
Yeah.
stand in line,
yeah.
there's either someone like watching videos, like being shown videos on an iPad about a video game and trying to figure out gameplay.
Yep.
And then the lady that works there just completely ignores everybody else trying to do something, just having a full-on conversation with the customer, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah.
Be that person. Bring people in. Give them that experience. But also have someone to move the register along so I'm not just standing there for 30 minutes just to return something.
Listen, this is I think actually the one solution is what's happening right now, but it can only happen if short selling was illegal, which is you give a grace, you know, if let's go back to Amoeba Records, they're failing not because of COVID. This is just if they're failing regularly, and then they're like, hey, we've hit our limit. You know, we hit the thing. We were told that we need to close, but we have 1 year to get our valuation up blank. And then people just buy shares in it. And then that's them. That is the actual, it's like the actual market speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously the weird GameStop short thing.
That's
is
not real.
Is driven by people wanting to make money because they heard about the squeeze.
They're trying to
and-
drive a company into failure, and then the other side is trying to take advantage of that a company over leverage themselves into that
Right.
position. Yeah.
But it feels like the meme has reached such a point now where I think people just like GameStop now. Like I think people are just like, I think it would be fucked up.
Have you seen the billboards people have been taking out?
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
There's one in Baltimore, one in Dallas, one in Oklahoma, and somebody took one out in Time fucking Square.
Yep.
That is but one of them says hold, one of them says we like the stock, which is making fun of Jim Cramer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been hilarious.
I can just
it's been
imagine though, it's like a bunch of people, you know, my age that are just like, well, I fucking like
we
it.
just have
Like,
one unanswered question that we just went back. Take the collectible side out of it. Take that argument there.
Okay.
Is games not even the stock thing? Let's
Yeah,
take that out.
the
Boom.
store.
We're just going to the store. What's the purpose? Video games things.
Yeah.
Cool. Collectibles out. Do you think that is a viable thing?
No.
It depends on the
Maybe if they got really hard into
Really
retro,
explain
but
to me like why you think that would be viable then.
why it would be viable. Well,
Yeah.
technically, its viability would determine whether or not Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo, if the game makers are going to continue to offer anything physical. As
I
of
think
right
they
now,
just do that because it's easier for some people that don't want to spend the money on the hard drives. But now that terabytes are now You know, I remember back in the day buying a terabyte, I'd be like, yo, I'm gonna drop
Well, I mean,
$600.
I mean, what
Now
the
I can get
PlayStation-
this thing's $100.
Right. The PlayStation 5 right now has 2 versions. One with a disk drive, one without. That makes it seem like they're thinking about.
They're segueing us into
Yeah,
it.
they're thinking about it. I personally think that would be a stupid and bad idea and would actually hobble
Okay,
They're-
interesting. Why?
because not enough people have good enough internet.
Very true.
More people play video
But
games.
with that being said, you
and then
also-
have good
you know
internet.
just as well as I do that all modern games, you put the disc in. What do you got to do?
Download from the internet.
Download a big fucking file.
But you download less. You do. Because
It's
there
true.
are install files on the disk.
Yes, I agree with that. But it is still like I remember.
And I also think that that's an
Okay.
issue and needs to be
But
fixed.
second wave
way
there.
up there.
Why can't you just order it off the internet?
well, like his original thing is like
Don't want to. What if I want to go buy it? What if I want to have it? What if I want to resell it? Technically, digital games take out any possible profit that me, the person, can make in the future.
And I do
Once you
agree with
digitally buy a game, fucking stuck with it. Once
Yeah,
you
you
physically
own a
buy a
game,
game,
yeah,
you
yeah.
can return it, you can trade it, you can do whatever.
the other thing I will say, just as a funny little side note here. I was talking to Shane Oshner the other day. Shane is in an awesome band called Everything in Slow Motion. They are on Face Down Records, and he saw on like kind of like he just put out a record at the end of last year.
Nice.
And he saw on kind of like the itinerary for all the release dates and everything that CDs were one of the releases. And he calls up the owner of the label and he's like, Jason, why are you making CDs? It's 2020. Like, this does not make any sense. He's like, oh no, we still sell a ton of them. He's like, there's a very specific group of the country. It's the Midwest. Spoiler. There were like CDs, and I'm assuming it's probably like the older crowd, but that CDs are still like a big seller for the Midwest, for his country, for his label. So he's like, yeah, we got to make them. We don't press a ton, but we got to make them.
Interesting. How much do you think of that is tied to people driving old cars?
Very, very possible.
So you think of,
Yeah.
because to me, my old car was the last thing that I had that had a CD player in it, and my new car does not. And I don't know. I would love to be able to play CDs. My PlayStation plays CDs.
Mine does not.
That's also another thing. I don't know if Sony or Microsoft can ever actually do away with the disc drive.
Backwards compatibility.
No, movies.
Oh yeah. Well, those are all digital now too.
If you're, well, that's a bad.
I have not bought a hard copy of a movie in. I maybe bought a Studio Ghibli movie before they were streaming, but that was probably about 2 years ago, maybe. But the last time I bought a movie before that, we're probably talking like 5-6 years ago.
So do you just like? I don't know. I'm really big into owning things that I like and being
Yeah.
and having it
Star Wars, I have all the DVDs on Blu-rays.
right, and you do that because you know that they're going to change it.
because it's just like a collectible thing. That's it.
No, but I'm talking about the actual media. Like
Oh yeah.
for like music is a big one, and it's why I like buying records. One, because I have a way to play them. If I had a way to play CDs, I'd probably maybe get back into CDs because there's rare stuff you can't find on streaming. Not
yeah,
every-
I
you
still
know,
I own a lot of CDs that
Yeah.
you cannot find digitally.
not everything's on
Yeah.
the internet.
Big Blink-182 fan. Mark, Tom, and Travis show, the live album.
Yeah, it's not on.
not available anywhere.
Right. So either, I'm not advocating to steal music digitally, but like other than that, you're at the whim of Spotify and iTunes and whatever, unless you buy the music and keep it on a hard drive yourself. And then, what if it fails? So your ultimate backup should always be something physical because the powers that be can't change that. And they change that shit all the fucking time. Star Wars has been modified how many times?
A billion times.
And
this,
Can you
5
buy
times.
the original unremastered version?
you can buy it on eBay
digital?
because what they did was they
digitally.
they sold a DVD collection of it back in like 2005,
Okay.
and they re-released the finally put it out there, but now you can't find that shit.
and you can steal it.
Right.
Everything that you want to have, you can find to steal because it is the internet. But yeah, to like legitimately own,
The despecialized editions,
Yeah.
people put it online and you can download them and all this stuff, but it's not. I want to just buy the original copy.
right?
I'm waiting for Disney to just latch on and be like, hey,
Laura's parents have it on Laserdisc.
They might, but that's the thing. Yeah, Disney would have to.
I have the copy, and I have the download, and I have all that shit. But
You
it's
have
like,
the laser disc.
but I want the new version. I want them to be to. I want it to exist in the world so I can have the comparison and not have to have this weird collection of it. You know, that's cool and all, but I just like the official shit. I like that.
Yeah. I don't know. There's something important, but also just kind of like, I don't know. It's the magic of a piece of physical media, and GameStop is attached to that in the same way that a toy store would be with collectibles. And if GameStop was like really wanted the whole new CEO, like the actual positive things that are happening to the company, which could make it worth $15 again instead of $5 or whatever it was before all the craziness started. I think a lot of that's tied to being able to branch out to maybe having more collectibles and less games.
And better setup of
Yeah,
the store.
you
I
know.
think that it's just walls of empty boxes. That's kind of silly.
And
And I
for-
get it. You want to check out those games. but
Color scheme isn't really
remember the
most
posted things when you used to
approachable.
go to? Well, they still probably exist. We just flap the posters and you look.
Fuck yeah.
Why
Yeah.
can't they do that with the cases? Just have a whole wall, it's big ass wall, and you just go like this. Boom.
It's like,
wow.
oh, this is all
This
the games.
is it. Cool. And then you repeat it. So this way, another guy that comes in could see it and see that whole wall. I don't understand why you got to have this whole empty room where it's just an empty box. Cool.
Yeah, I don't know about that. That is weird because they are all empty. The stock's in the back.
And then
anyway.
right here,
exactly.
you know, this my section of this room is their representation of games.
And like
I
from
mean,
another,
of,
from
So
another
you think they
collectibles.
should switch it to be like the walls are mostly different collectibles and like fun memorabilia, video game, movie, music related.
And I don't. I mean, I'm personally like kind of like on the other side of the room on this one because I have no care if I own a physical copy of something. I could see it in a case like Star Wars or maybe a couple movies that I'm really fond of where I would not want a remastered version down the road. I would want like the version I have.
Sure.
But I don't have any particular interest in.
I'm also not even talking about like different versions. What if it's just gone?
I think that if you, I mean, it'll be interesting to see because we're gonna have to see how that plays out. Because like, let's say there's a licensing dispute between Apple and Universal or something, and a movie that I love but I already have bought it. I can't imagine they'll remove it from my library if I've already paid for it.
No, I mean, I'm talking more about streaming.
I don't really stream much,
Okay.
so I'm probably the wrong person to talk to about that. I'll watch like an occasional TV show.
Do you stream music though?
Yeah, I do.
That's the big one because
Yeah.
tomorrow,
Oh yeah, I was.
Metallica's "Ride the
No,
Lightning."
you're
can be
absolutely right. I
fucking
actually
off
went to listen
Spotify.
to a specific Metallica album. I don't remember which one a few months ago, and it wasn't there.
Yeah.
Just isn't there. Yeah.
There's you can.
So you don't really stream movies or anything?
No, not really.
You got to get on the HBO Max train.
That shit is. It's very. I
It's wild.
love
I
it.
will use that word.
I'll check it out. But we like for the.
They released a brand new ass movie.
No, I know.
Well, they have to. They can't show it in theaters.
Just to give you like where I'm at. My daughter goes to bed at 8. I go to bed at 10:30 or 11. It's really hard to get my ADD ass wife to sit down and not get up 46 times throughout the movie. Every movie turns into 5 hours. It just does not fit into the cards a lot of times.
I got you.
Um,
So short bites of something to
so
watch.
yeah, we're big fans of The Expanse. So we stream TV shows.
Sure.
We're big fans of we were big fans of Game of Thrones up until season 8.
R.I.P.
Have any of you guys watched Search Party?
No,
Oh man, watch that show.
we liked
Shout out.
what is the Tom Clancy show on Amazon? Jack
Ryan.
Jack Ryan. We like Jack Ryan.
Jim from The Office.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's some really good shows out there, and there's shows that are on our list of shows that I still want to check out. But like we've become way more show, and especially with the high quality of shows over the last few years. But there's a bunch of movies we haven't watched Tenet yet. I want to see it.
Shows are a good thing though. Like that's another thing. Those are gonna go away. Like
What?
they're gonna.
What do you mean? What?
What do you mean?
What do you mean they're gonna go?
What do you
away?
mean? Elaborate is what he means.
What? How do you guys not understand that that's what's gonna happen?
Why are shows going to go away?
Because why would Netflix? Okay, a Netflix original show, if it's 5 years old, why is Netflix going to waste money keeping it on their server when they could just archive it and then you can't watch it ever again?
I think they will do some of archiving, and they'll bring back things back like Disney does. They'll pull it out of the vault.
Which has been the thing that's been such a smart thing for Disney is that you care about watching it again. It gives you a reason because there's so much content out
Wasn't
there.
it a huge issue that they you couldn't buy you couldn't buy Aladdin for like 20 years?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it was a big
wasn't
deal.
that long, but it was Yes.
That's fucking stupid, and I hate that, and I think it's bad.
Yeah, they're
I don't know how to say it.
I
They're
better.
following the
I
De
kind
Beers
of-
model, like where De Beers has more. If De Beers flooded the market with all the diamonds that they have in their vaults, you'd be able to buy like a $100,000 or a $10,000 diamond at Walgreens for like $8 because
Yeah.
they have so many of them. They control the supply that they manipulate the price by having like they're functionally like the world's biggest monopoly actually.
Yeah, it's something like that. I don't know. I don't like if
To
I
me-
like something, I want to know I can access it whenever I please.
There's two different ways I look at it because it gives it more of a collectible value, and I like collecting things and having it be like, oh, cool, I jumped on and I got that, you know. But at the same point, you should be able to buy Aladdin if you wanted to. And I think they're changing that business model, but it was smart at one time because it helped you. It gave you a reason to go buy that gift, you know, of the Aladdin collection when it was
Sure.
re-released instead of it just always being there. And so I have this mixed thing of like everything doesn't always have to be there. You don't always have to have the option to buy, you know, a Yoda
No, but you
toy
should
all
have
the
the
time.
option to buy it. And I don't know if you can buy. Can you buy Netflix TV shows on Blu-ray?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen any on Blu-ray, but I've seen them available on Apple TV. Like there's some shows that you can just buy from Apple TV.
Yeah. I also don't like. Realistically, yes. If you buy something on Apple, it should be there forever.
I know you can buy Stranger Things.
But what if it
on
doesn't?
Blu-ray.
What if something fucks up? It's all digital. If you have it in your hand, you have it in your hand. And if you have the piece of hardware that plays it, you can do that forever. You can still watch a VHS
I
tape.
guess I just don't think I care enough.
That's fair.
Like we all have our hill we're gonna die, and I'm like I don't like Alexa guy, and you guys are like the hard copy.
I'm a
movie
guy.
guy.
I guess I'm dying on the hill of physical media, which I'm okay with it.
Right. And I'm like yeah.
Well,
yeah.
at least I know where your head's at. So no matter what I say, you're never going to be convinced of it. But I just want you. I really try to get to the point of
No,
like,
my whole point is just understanding where you're coming from. I don't care if
exactly.
I'm going to change your opinion or not.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes where I'm like, I don't understand. How do you think TV shows are going to go away? But you're not meaning all the TV shows. Like
No,
the
I
idea
mean,
of a
like,
TV
if
show
you really
gonna go
like
away.
The Crown, and if
20 years ago,
But
you
I
want to show it to
lived-
your kids.
We lived in a world like that for like since
you didn't,
TV
you
was
had
created.
you had a book, and
No,
the book
think
is
about
50
that.
years old.
Think about that. Seinfeld. It would come on, and that was it. And then you'd have to wait until it was syndicated to watch it again.
And watch it on TBS, 2 episodes in a row
Before
at 6
DVDs,
o'clock.
there was years and years. Yo, I loved I Dream of Jeannie. My grandma didn't get to watch that again until it came on TV again. You know, it was a marathon or something like that.
Well, you mean like before home video?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I
even when
understand.
home video existed, they didn't put those out.
You
Yeah.
could get VHS box sets of television shows.
No.
Yeah, but-
What he's saying is the VCR came out,
Yeah.
and then like more than a decade later, they started going through back catalog of rerun shows and releasing them on VHS. Those weren't part of the initial
Oh.
catalog that came out with VHS.
Yeah, well, they never should have done that if they wanted to go back to not having us be able to do that.
Well,
I understand. I'm just saying that, but we got
Things
it
move
was
back and
okay.
forth.
We looked at something else that was different. I'm the type of person that doesn't watch stuff over and over again.
Yeah, same
I love
here.
Star Wars, and you'd be shocked at how many times I've seen that movie.
I think you told me one time. and
It's under a dozen.
Yeah, it's way
And-
less
and-
than I would expect.
Exactly.
Yeah, my
because I
favorite two
remember
movies-
it. If I can replay the whole movie in my head, I don't need to watch
same
it
here.
again.
Laura hates me for that, but same thing for me. It's like there's two of my favorite movies are Fifth Element and Fight Club, and I have probably seen Fifth Element maybe 10 times, and I've probably seen Fight Club 20. And of the times I've watched The Fifth Element, half of those were just showing somebody else The Fifth Element. I was just watching it
Yeah.
to show them,
When you were younger, it's a different story. When you watch Tommy Boy fucking
Yeah, we just would be
185
assholes,
times.
but-
No, but
That's
I mean, you hit the crux of it. It doesn't matter how good art is to be shared. Art is a
Yeah.
public thing. If you don't have access to sharing it because it only exists digitally, a video game, music,
Okay, I see what you're saying.
that's bad.
But I feel like once you obtain it, you got it.
But you don't have it. You don't own it. You don't own anything on Netflix.
how do you feel about your money being in a bank account that's only dollar?
Money is fake. So
Okay,
that's
well.
where that's where I stand on that.
I feel like if you really
It's
love
all fucking
something,
numbers. I don't have any money. I don't have any gold. I don't have anything worth anything except
We
my
need it.
life and my car.
the
we
option
need
to
we need to have a financial planning meeting after this with you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wrap it up with just one last question so we can close it out because we're getting kind of long in the tooth here. I was going to, which by the way means old, not long conversation. I kind of used the wrong metaphor there.
I am getting older. That's true.
We are all indeed getting older. It is
Right
factual.
now?
I'm older now than when I started the conversation. So
I just got excited. This is the first conversation we had about collectibles and stuff.
no, it's I just want to get everyone.
in my wheelhouse.
Your wife
Yes,
has got her COVID vaccination,
she has. Yeah,
which is why you're back
that's why I'm allowed to be here.
because she is a medical health professional.
Yes, she is.
How are we all feeling about the COVID vaccine? everybody is. Are we all getting it?
I'm fucking psyched.
Mike's getting it.
Yeah, but of course I'm gonna get it. Did I
Okay.
have an option when I got
My
the
sister's already
polio
got
vaccine
hers.
or whatever the hell I got when I was a kid?
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? I don't
I'm
give a shit.
also going to get it. I'm just letting you know. I'm very much 100%.
And if they
on
put
that.
chips in it, go for it.
Yeah, I could give two shits.
I have
my phone on me 24/7. Like,
Yeah,
they wanna
they
try
already
to-
know.
I'm
I
literally
got
on the
two
internet
things on me.
talking right now. They can go and figure out all the dumb shit I just said.
We're recording ourselves talking.
Exactly. If they want to do a deep fake on me, they're gonna have a lot of material.
Oh my
to run
God,
through.
where did Joe go? Now there's a red stormtrooper here.
It's like it doesn't quite fit on his head the right way. It's
No,
not
it's not, because it's made for children,
okay.
not adults, and it gets stuck on my head.